Akuretaki.
Mine!
What the fuck is happening right now?
What in the actual...
Oh my god. Oh.
Let's go!
Hello and welcome to my personal tier list of low tier tanks. I'm going to judge all of the tier 1 tanks together with the help of tier maker website, then we'll move on tier 2 and so on. Also, artillery is out of these lists. Starting with Kala House Inca, LOL Tractor, the French duplicated tanks and others. I will drag them into a WN8 color adapted category to rank them up. The rules are to stick to some criterias that will help me to evaluate each individual tank, and to do so, I'm looking for statistics such as health points, travel speed, damage per minute, reload time, penetration, damage compared to WN8, WN8 expected compared to potential WN8. WN8 is a metric of your performance based on damage that varies in function of your unique damage dealt in a battle, multiplied by a factor that depends on the expected damage dealt in a battle. Also keep in mind that this is based on my experience and the witnesses of myself of other friends. Let's take a closer look at the categories indicated on the left. The bottom tier category in red is for tanks that are not worth trying to play because they are so bad you will lose your credits, a tank garage slot, time and your mind by playing them, knowing that the tank can't carry a team because it lacks in every statistic possible. This category is for useless tanks that need a complete rework from the programmers. Moving on to the very bad category, indicated in orange just above. This category is for tanks that only have one strength and a million of weaknesses. Next is the bad category. There I will put most of the bad and slow tanks that can only rely on their armor and HP. Next in yellow is a category for good tanks, but that can be easily replaced by better tanks with slightly better statistics. Green stands for these statistically better tanks, which most of them would be there. Excellent but advanced category stands for great tanks to pad your WN8 with. That category gathers every good tanks with a slightly bad statistic such as TPM. Perfect category in blue is for awesome tanks that people play the most to win, but that don't gain much of WN8 or that are not unique. God tier purple category is for the every tank that gain a crazy amount of WN8 when they hit an insane amount of damage dealt, which must have great capabilities of carry as a solo player. The ultimate purple Unicum category is for the most underrated tanks that meet every requirement of being a perfect tank and that generate a crazy amount of WN8 of about 7,000. They stand the most distinguished tanks that I'll look to play in the future. My current favorite tier 1 tank is the Czechoslovakian Kala House Inca, simply because it looks like a soapbox. Let's make a more analytical look on tanks.gg. Every other tank has worse statistics just by the first look of it. Kala House Inca has an average amount of 110 HP, which means that can only take 3 hits. LOL Tractor has 130 HP and can take 1 more hit. Just like the British and only medium tier 1 tank, its damage per minute is very competitive with the auto-loading gun of the Leech Trucker and the P-shooting gun of the MS-1. Its penetration is superior to others, and its reload time is acceptable, although it is one of the slowest tanks in tier 1. The biggest advantage is that it generates a lot of WN8. Here with 500 damage I make 7000 WN8. The tank has a square and high profile which allows you to get into the windows on Himseldorf, which is also an advantage. We have noticed that LOL Tractor has slightly more DPM, more HP and even have 2 different good guns, but it is an old tank which many seal clubbers have already padded, which makes it less of a great WN8 generator. The same can be said about the MS1 and even that it is the slowest tank with the least amount of HP. As the LOL Tractor is easier to play with remarkable advantages, the requirements for better WN8 demands better amount of damage per battle. Here you can see that both MS1 and LOL Tractor generals about the same WN8 with the exact same damage per game. To exploit the system I suggest play some other tanks. Here is how I would classify the French duplicates. The Chinese has the best damage per minute capability and is more mobile. It is also the tank that is the least well played. The Japanese and the French have the worst DPM and are better played overall. The Italian one is just way too slow, which is a big disadvantage on the big maps.
No way!
Look, the Chinese tank, which has the best DPM, has only an average damage of 88, which is the least of all tier 1s. With a good battle, that tank should generate WN8 like crazy. Here is how I would classify the rest of them. The American T1 and the Swedish tank lack in damage per minute with both of their guns. What's worse with the Swedish one is that he has his turret at the back of his body and is slower than the T1. The British medium one is a great damage dealer, but it is slow and is not capable of doing great. It is neither a good WN8 generator. In order, the Carla House Enka, the Chinese, the German, milliseconds 1, medium 1, Japanese, French, Italian, American, Polish, and Swede.